following is a conversation. It has the features of any conversation, such as imperfectly expressed thoughts, ill-considered opinions, and the notions of several sleep-deprived brains. Try not to get your stethoscope in a twist about it.
On today's show, we're clearing the board in our emergency room of listener questions because, just like in the ER, you listeners who wrote in have been waiting long enough. But first, when this comes out, it will be orientation week. New M1s arriving, all bright-eyed and hearts beating loudly, unsure of what it is they've gotten themselves into. Looking over their shoulders. I don't know, whatever they're feeling, I'm sure. Do you remember what you were feeling on during orientation week?
Mostly excitement.
Yeah? Not nervous at all?
I mean,
badass? Yeah. You're just a complete badass?
Some nervous, but I was just so happy to be in med school. You know, it's a fun week.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm excited for them. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I remember I was very anxious about making friends. That's like my memory. Yeah.
And I'm sorry that didn't work out for you.
I know.
I mean, there's always residents.
Yeah, I was also super excited. I had never stepped foot in Iowa before that, so it was pretty cool. Okay. I was excited and also anxious about making friends. Yeah. But
it happens.
It does.
It happens. I mean, just because it didn't happen to Hend doesn't mean
it could happen to everyone.
It can happen with other people. So.
I took one for the team.
I mean...
Meandering in the margins of medicine, it's the Shortcoat Podcast.
Weird news,
fresh views,
helpful clues, and interviews.
By students, for students.
Subscribe to our weekly show at theshortcoat.com.
Welcome back to the Shortcoat Podcast. It's a show that gives you an inside look at medical school from the students drinking from that fire hose. A production of the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I'm Dave Etler. With me today in the SCP studio, M4s all around.
Woo.
Her eyes still retain a bit of a twinkle. It's Hend Al-Kaylani.
Oh,
it's true.
That's sweet. Oh my gosh.
Her heart beats calm and steady at 60 beats per minute. No matter what, it's M4, Maryam Ahmad.
I don't know if my heart is beating 60 beats per minute.
And she's oriented times 5.
Oh,
it's M4 Madeline Ungs.
Hello.
Shortcoats, we give advice. Sometimes that advice is good. We suggest solutions to your problems, and sometimes your problems get solved.
Ooh.
We offer our perspectives, and sometimes we're not full of crap. If you need help with any sort of thing, do what our advice-seeking listeners did for today's episode. Visit theshortcoat.com/tell us. Share your thoughts, ideas, your rants, your peculiar notions, your special noises that you like to make, whatever you want. It'll help us make the show that's more yours than mine, and that would be amazing. Okay, got a lot to do today. Gird your loins. Our
I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Our first patient is Rainey, and she's about to embark upon a new education journey, but will she regret it?
Dun, dun,
Dun, dun, dun.
Hello, Dave and friends. I want to start off by saying I'm a big fan of the show.
Aw.
Dave, you are a great conversationalist, and I love that all the guests speak comfortably about their experiences in medical education.
That's very sweet.
Despite knowing that I want to be a medical provider, I struggled a lot deciding what path to take. I come from a very poor background, so starting out in nursing seemed like the best option when starting college, since I didn't feel like I could undertake the financial burden of medical school. Now that I have been a nurse for a few years, it has solidified that desire to be at a provider level, and I was recently accepted into a Doctorate of Nursing Practice program that I will be starting in the fall.
Sweet.
A
Congratulations.
DNP career fits my education background, my financial and lifestyle goals, and I'm not sure I'd be happy doing 8 more years of schooling like physicians do. I also like the idea of physician-supervised autonomy to diagnose and treat simpler cases. But I can't help the nagging feeling that I might regret not just pursuing medical school. Family members and friends ask, well, why not become a doctor? Several have expressed their distaste with mid-level providers, feeling that they are less competent. A physician's assistant coworker, who often makes distasteful comments about the field, says it doesn't have enough regulation and that nurse practitioners just don't know what they're doing. I do agree with the sentiment that nurse practitioners have a hazy scope of practice and should have more regulation, but these types of comments make me anxious about practicing in the future. It seems like the general public and other providers are very distrusting of nurse practitioners. I don't want to be a doctor, but I also don't want to be discredited as a provider because I am not a doctor. Any advice for someone who is struggling to be confident in their chosen career path? Do you have any suggestions for garnering trust with my physician colleagues when I am practicing? Should I just say screw it and commit to going to med school? Any and all advice is appreciated. Thank you guys for all that you do.
Lots to think about.
Lots to think about. I just want to point out that, at least from patients, trust in doctors is I don't know. I don't know. It's not perfect right now either. So, from that perspective, doctors have their own issues to deal with as far as trust goes. But anyway, it's a little slightly beside the point. What do you guys think? I think nurse practitioners are awesome. I don't understand why. I know there's a subset of patients which maybe you've encountered who is like, I only want to speak to the doctor.
It's a thoughtful question, and thank you, Rainey, for asking it. I think it takes vulnerability to ask. I was wondering, is part of your experience, if you've talked to any people with the DNP or nurse practitioners, how their experience has been, maybe if you've shadowed a couple and just kind of see what it looks like. Because I think if you're worried about getting trust, I know we live in really big healthcare systems where there's 40 billion doctors in a hospital and stuff like that, but you do build up a reputation, and there are doctors who other doctors are really excited about referring patients to because they trust them and they know that they're going to do a great job, and then there are other doctors who don't have that reputation. And I'm sure it's the same with nurse practitioners, where there's some that are known to take great care of their patients. So I think that no matter what path you choose, if you commit to really knowing what you're doing and being up to it and taking control of your education so that you feel comfortable with your practice, you're going to build that reputation regardless of what degree you have at the end of your name.
That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, it's sort of earn.
Yeah.
You got to earn that reputation. I mean, I see what she's saying. Like doctors, I think traditionally have sort of this inbuilt trust factor for a lot of patients that maybe DNPs don't, just because they're not as familiar with the term also.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as your colleagues go, I mean, that's just build that over time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer, and I would agree.
Well, shit.
I don't know if there's much more.
I hope that would take longer.
When I was listening,
we've got a whole episode to do here.
I feel like just hearing all of your question, it sounds like you are pretty committed to be a DNP. To me, that doesn't. I think it depends on you as a person. If you were to say, well, I just really love the medicine and I want to know as much as I can about one topic, and then maybe I'd be like, well, maybe consider med school. But it sounds like you have a really good goal and kind of know what you're working towards.
And so it's appropriate for, like you said, it's appropriate for your desires, your lifestyle, the kind of lifestyle you want, the kind of, situation you want to be in. I always think, when I'm making an important decision, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong about this decision? But we all make decisions based on, hopefully, the information that we have and whatever portion of our lizard brain likes to interfere with that at the time, right? I think she's making a fine decision.
Mm-hmm.
And tell your PA friend, Bafangul. That means something
Yeah, what language is that?
Vaffanculo.
Me and my ignorance.
I'm not sure what that meant either.
That's sort of like an Italian American phrase that's basically like "f you."
I love it. That's what I learned.
Vaffanculo. I think that's right. If any Italians out there,
Please.
I'm only
in.
like a quarter Italian, so it's dicey.
What do you think, Mario?
I think that for me, like just rotating in the hospital, I feel like the hospital would not run without the NPs, and the doctors, like they rely on them to see patients with them, and they definitely are, like helping run the hospital.
Yeah,
and
they're so important.
Yeah, and I think one of the doctors, like I rotated with last month or the month before that, they were like they see an NP for their like PCP, and so I think that they are like really critical to what's going on here, and it would be really hard for patients to be able to be seen if they weren't helping see patients.
I think a lot of what like advice that I would give to Rainey is like, I'm sure there's some really strong medical schools, and there's other schools where you have to do a lot of the learning yourself. I'm sure that range exists for DNP programs too. So do a lot of research into this. Congrats on your acceptance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, do research into what they offer and the training that they offer, because like I don't know about you guys, but there's so many things in med school that I didn't even like. You know that phrase like you don't know what you don't know. There were so many things I did not know going into this, and like there's so much information and skills and like workup skills that you need to have, because like 90% of patients do not present like the textbook. Like, okay, you're looking at a skin lesion, and like half of the traits of the skin lesion make it seem like it's malignant, and the other half of the traits for this patient make it seem like it's benign. It's like it never presents like the textbook, and you need to get a lot of training and a lot of reps in to be able to take care of those patients well, because they're always vague. And like a strong program is going to provide you with that. So I don't think like the degree at the end of it matters. It's more of like, did this program offer me training? Did it offer me a lot of reps and a lot of feedback? So I don't know if that answer made any sense, but
yeah. No, that helps. And I think
ring of truth to it.
Yeah, it depends on the person too. Like if it sounds like you are very motivated. So I would say no matter where you go, it sounds like you're going to set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And let's face it, like learning continues essentially forever.
1,000,000%.
In any sort of medical career, I would imagine. You know, there's always, I mean, hell, in my career, there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
I learned some new things today that I didn't really want to learn. There it is.
Here we are.
Here we are.
More knowledgeable this morning.
It's great.
I would say go somewhere where they value you and your practice, and pick a place that will like
for a job.
Yes, for a job.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think it's probably the same. Like there's different like clinics, hospitals, etc., where people like value NPs, and then there's probably places that don't value them as much, and you can definitely find those places that will love you and will really, really want you.
Yeah, and I keep hearing about nursing shortages. Seems like you'd be in good shape to like basically pick your spot. Are these people cool? Are they gonna interface with me in a way that's acceptable and in the way that honors what I know, and also gives me room to grow? Then perfect, you got it made.
The length of time that it takes you to get this degree, I know it's like a financial factor with loans and stuff, but like it's also like that time is valuable. So don't always like hustle for the most, like the quickest way to get to this quote end goal of a degree, because that's not the end goal, that's the starting line. Like when you get the degree. So
well, also speaking of money, I think few people come into med school with like all $300,000 that they need.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing. Not really. So everybody takes out loans to get there, and if the decision was solely a financial one, I'm not sure it's completely relevant to say, or completely helpful to think of it as like a money or not a money situation. We had White Coat Investor on a few shows ago, and he was saying that doctors are pretty much in good shape to pay back their loans in a relatively short amount of time, even though they are, by any reasonable definition, astronomical. So okay,
well, that's good news.
Love that for you guys. Yeah. You guys are good.
Fingers crossed.
Madeline, don't look convinced.
We'll get there.
Eventually.
Live
like a student when you're a resident. Live like a resident when you're an attending.
And then
you
die.
And then you die. Well said, and very encouraging.
We're all about encouragement.
I wonder why Lynn didn't find friends. She's so
ray of sunshine.
She really is. Rainey, best of luck. Go for it. I think you're in good shape.
You got this.
Have fun.
Yes.
Live, laugh, love.
Okay.
You can cut that out if you want.
No, that's perfect. All right. Next up we have Worried Traveler. It's not her real name.
What?
Who's trying to get her ducks in a row to do her clinical rotations. Take it away, Worried.
I love listening to your podcast. It brightens my days when I need to remember what others are going through in med school. On that note, I'm a rising M2 and have one more semester of didactic curriculum before moving 2 hours away to do my clinical rotations. I need tips for this transition in a cohort of 8, being mid-distance from my boyfriend, who has to stay here for his job, and finding solo activities that I enjoy besides running and going to the gym. Besides all the life tips for being in yet another new place, what are good ways to structure clinical rotations? Do you like to play schedules by ear, plan weeks by rotation, journal about them, find a sweet spot of the amount you ask questions, and prep the night before? Do you keep in touch with friends from school or mentors often? I feel a little overwhelmed because didactic curriculum is not my favorite, despite normally really enjoying school. I'm finally catching on a little how to organize that after my first year. I'm trying to plan and organize myself for clinicals because that's what I need to succeed amid other moving parts. I'm excited for clinicals, but a heads up on this transition would be helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, my voice went weird there. Thank you.
Is that what they were
they're
saying?
finishing up their M1. It sounds similar to what Iowa does. They've got an 18-month didactic curriculum, and then they go off to clinicals. And some of our people go to Des Moines.
Des Moines crew represent.
Yeah. Some of our people go to Des Moines. Some of our people stay here for a different core year experience. Did you guys do anything conscious to prepare yourselves for clinical rotations? I mean, other than like taking the clinical, the transitions course, which is like a week long. Like, okay, you're about to go to out to the clinics. Here's some basic things you need to know, and good luck.
I say this, it is 100% true, and I don't want it to come off as a joke. It sounds like a joke, but it's true. I set up prophylactic counseling, set up prophylactic therapy because I was like,
with our medical student counseling center.
Yes. Because I was like, maybe I don't feel like I need this right now, but at some point I probably will, even if it's that shouldn't I don't want that to come across as clinicals suck, because they're really so much fun. But I think there's a lot of new stuff that you're exposed to, and so many new environments where you're constantly always the new person. So that brings up a lot of things that you it's nice to have a point once a month or something to sit down and reflect with someone and talk about things and notice maybe unhealthy patterns that you've developed or healthy patterns that you've developed over the year. So that's what
somebody to put certain things into perspective. One of the weird things I think about medicine and the education that you get is that you're constantly evaluated on things that seem like personality traits, which is a little, I don't know, it's a little disconcerting. It's a little odd for probably in the beginning. So I don't know. Seems like a thing that you could benefit from, like, so, you know, so-and-so told me that, you know, I don't know, I need more friends. And I need to make some more friends. You're not laughing at my joke. Okay, let me try.
No, I was going to say, because, like, you told me that, like, 20 minutes ago. So that is a relevant example.
Maybe I need to bounce this idea off of somebody.
I'll just go walk over to the MSTC right now.
So yeah, that totally makes sense to me. I think it's a good idea.
I did go to counseling, so prophylactic would be really good, but yeah, I don't think I did anything, and I think by the time transitions was over, I was so tired of transitions that I was ready for clinicals.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get to the end of the didactic curriculum and they're like, I'm ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think what I realized is the point of med school is to make you so done of what you're doing currently that you're ready for the next step. Like, didactics makes you so tired that you're like, I would rather do clinicals right now, even though you're kind of worried and scared. But then you're like, I can do this, just not this. Then after clinicals, you're like nearing the end of clinicals, and you're like, I'm really tired. I can study for STEP. And then you realize, and then you get to STEP, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. You're like,
I want to go back.
I want to go back to the hospital. And then you're back at the hospital, and like, you know, you're looking forward to every new stage of life. So that was a really side note, but yeah,
we don't. I'm sorry to say, we don't do tangents on this show.
It's gonna get cut out.
Yeah, that's not true.
We're so positive.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was trying to think. I don't know if I really consciously did anything to prepare either, but I will say, when you're in core year, to make some time just for like normal people things, because it's really difficult to do that sometimes. And for me, I went in a smaller cohort from here, and we went to Des Moines, and every month we had like a monthly some kind of get together. And that was like so palate cleansing.
Was that
like,
something you guys had just arranged?
We arranged ourselves. And the program like helped us kind of put it together, which is nice. Especially since there were a lot less of us there to have something like every month we knew we were going to have something where you were going to interact with other people and like not in the hospital and just do something fun. And even if you were like really stressed at the time, like, oh my gosh, I got to study for the shelf. Sometimes you just need some time away, and then it'll be easier to study when you go back. So I'd say make some time like that, like have like a monthly time, or, you know, every couple weeks where you just go and hang out with some friends, or you go and just do something for yourself.
Love that. Yeah. She mentioned something about like planning out schedules. Did that, I mean, I was under the impression that it's all planned out for you, but maybe we're talking about the sort of extra things like you're talking about. Like,
building
in time for a social life.
The only thing I really planned was like those monthly things, but like I wasn't planning every day, every week, what exactly I was going to do. It was kind of like, oh, okay, I got done at 7 today. I'm tired. I'm just going to go home and like take a rest night. Mm-hmm. Or, oh, I got done at 3 today. Okay, I'll, you know, go to the gym for a little bit. I kind of took it day by day like that.
I could never plan out my life to the extent of like being like, okay, on Tuesday night, I'm going to study. And then on Wednesday night, I'm going to relax.
Yeah.
Then, you know, like
it just depends on my mood sometimes,
right.
What I want to do.
I was very much the opposite.
Excellent.
I think for me, maybe our listener will experience this too, but core year is like, you don't really expect what's going to happen that day, especially because like it's most of the time it's our like first or second day on the service. We have no idea who anyone is. We have no idea what the flow of the clinic is, or like what's going to happen in the OR. Everything is so new. So for me, I needed that structure outside of school. Like I had no idea what was happening in the hospital, but at least when I got home, I knew, okay, this is what's happening. So I would plan it out, where it's like, okay, Tuesday night I'm doing this, Wednesday night I'm doing this, and that gave me structure. to kind of self-soothe after not knowing what's happening all day and feeling not in control all day. Yeah.
It's a way to take back control.
It's a way to take back control. Exactly. Maybe that's a coping mechanism, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Seems like a healthy one.
It seems like a healthy coping mechanism.
I hope so.
I mean, if you were like slavish to that schedule, maybe that would.
No, sometimes, yeah.
Because you've got to modify it sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if the day was really rough and you extra didn't know what was happening, sometimes you need to come home and just like, I'm just going to like breathe a little bit.
There are lectures too in clerkships, right?
There are,
Yep.
yeah. But I feel like clerkships are a lot more spontaneous than preclinicals. I don't know. Like things would spontaneously happen a lot. Sometimes you spontaneously find out that your friend also got off early and you can like go for a walk or something, there's a lot more spontaneity, which I think makes it fun.
Yeah, me and Hind went kayaking on Wednesday.
Nice.
Oh no, not on Wednesday, on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where did you kayak? In Lake McBride or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was good.
She mentioned journaling. I am a fan of the idea of journaling. Have never done it,
Okay.
but it makes sense to me that I like ideas. But it makes sense to me that a good way to process what you're learning and to remember it later is to write it down. And I'm not talking about like, dear diary, here's everything that happened to me today. You can do that if you want.
Get a fountain pen. Yeah.
Yeah. You can do that if you want, but just kind of giving yourself little hints for later. I think the benefit of that is also like maybe you'll be able to look back on that when it comes time to write your personal statement, and you'll have some anecdotes in mind for that.
That is some advice that I received and I did not do. And in hindsight, I wish I had done. So I would definitely have journaled a little bit more. Not like, oh my gosh, I have to go home every day and write about all that I saw. But like once a week, just be like, oh, what did I do this week? And write that down.
I mean, hell, these days you can even just talk into your phone and get a transcript and like, just save it for later and then go back through. And I mean, it does, like I say, it doesn't have to be like super formal.
And honestly, like I actually got that. It was on one of my evals from a resident. Was like her recommendation for improvement was like always take something home from the day. Like even if you're exhausted and it's been a crazy day, always like try to remember one learning point from what happened that day. Like maybe we treated a patient with this, or the patient had this symptom which made this the diagnosis. And that'll really help your learning too. So I think if what her first name was Worried.
Yeah.
If Worried,
it's her given name.
That's her Christian name. If they what was I even talking about? Yeah, if they, like as part of their journaling, if they recognize like, maybe that'll help them reflect on like the medical things that they learned that day. That'll help them do really well on the shelf, have to study less, and then they can spend more time with their boyfriend or like,
Yeah. What about asking questions? So when I help write MSPs, one of the things that I often see is, in a positive way, is comments that say she asked many useful, like relevant questions and knew when to ask them. Because there are obviously times like when you're wrist deep in a C-section, you don't want to ask questions. But so did you guys have to fumble through that a little bit, or were you pretty quick to figure it out? Madeline doesn't ask any questions.
I'm trying to think.
She's an introvert.
I'm not
we
the
discovered
best
that on the
at
last
social
show.
skills. But I had to learn how to speak up a little bit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like after a little bit of practice, I just got more comfortable doing that. So that was my thing. It wasn't that I was like, some people, maybe they ask too many questions and they have to work on reining it in a little bit. I don't know.
I definitely am sure that there were people who ask questions at weird moments.
Yeah. But like me, I had to like get my voice out there a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which it gets easier as the year goes on.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, you also don't know what to ask. Like everything is new and you're like, oh, that is so cool. But you have like no other thoughts. So I think
or you have like, I have so many questions and I don't know how to formulate any one.
Yeah. Or it's hard when like kind of people are very busy or they're on to the next thing and you're like, oh, but what was even happening for the last like 10 minutes in that surgery
that would be
or what?
Hard for me because I need time to process. I need time to think about stuff. If you tell me, something a day later or that evening, I might be like, oh, I wish I'd asked that question. I guess in this case, you can always go back to that person you experienced that with and be like, hey, I thought of something.
Yeah. If you can remember your question,
journal.
Sometime, you can journal, or at like different points in the day, the attending will like have a second and be like, did you have any questions about that patient? Or they'll be like, or at the end of the day, they'll be like, did you have any questions about any of the patients we saw today? And at that time, sometimes it's like 6 p.m. and you're drawing a complete blank and you're like, yeah, let me think about that. But if you like wrote down your question, then you can remember what it was and you can ask, and that's really helpful. If you want to write it down, you can.
Yeah, I totally definitely do Maryam's advice of like writing down, like, keep a little notebook with you, whatever like you use to like present your patients or anything, like just write your questions on there. And then if you're attending as someone who is that kind of person that's like, so like you're just walking with them and they like ask you, what questions do you have? Like you have something. You can always email them too. Sometimes I've emailed like residents or attendings after I've worked with them with like a UWorld question. I think a couple times I sent a UWorld question. No.
What's the correct answer?
You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Multiple choice question for your...
No, nobody gets multiple choice. They're one level above.
It's so funny. And I have not tested them. I remember one time in Dedicated, I emailed a fellow a question because and he responded, and I had sent him a screenshot of the UWorld question. UWorld, please don't sue me. But I sent him a screenshot of the UWorld question, and I was like, why is this the answer? And his reply was like, Dear Hend, thank you for traumatizing me with, with showing me a UWorld question. But anyway, that was a tangent. You could always email them. If there wasn't an opportune time during the day. I think that I really struggled with asking too many questions. I was definitely the person that asked them at a weird time. And this was like throughout the year. Like I had to learn that skill of knowing when to ask questions.
Okay, when's the time not to ask questions?
Times not to ask questions. Number one, if the patient is literally there and you're like, like you see like a weird like skin lesion, you're like, what's that? Like, don't do that. Like that's like, yes, it shows that you're observant and you're paying attention, but you're gonna freak the patient out. It's just a weird dynamic because you want to show that you're engaged, and sometimes you have to communicate that verbally, and that's why you get comments on your evals like quiet, right? Like that. I hate that so much. So you have to show that you're engaged using verbal questions. At the same time, you also recognize that this is not the reason that clinician is there is not to teach you 100%. They're also doing their job. They're serving their patients. This is a literal work environment. It's not just a school environment, and you're not the primary goal a lot of the time. Sometimes you are. Sometimes there's 5 minutes where you are the primary goal to be taught something. And those moments always feel special. But you do have to recognize that like this is a work environment. So there are some times not to ask, where it's not good to ask questions. If it's like a really tense part of the surgery, if you're in the OR, sometimes we don't know that because like I don't know this procedure well enough to know what the tense parts are. Like sometimes I didn't even know something was going wrong until like after the surgery happened and they like debriefed.
Same.
Right? Yeah. So so it's really confusing for us. But you do want to try to ask some questions. Sometimes good times to ask questions are like when you're walking, if you're rounding, like when you're walking between patient rooms or like going to another ward, that's a good time to ask questions. Between cases in the OR, sometimes the attending like disappears into the mist to like go chart or something or see a patient in clinic and you don't know where they are. But if they are there, you could ask them a question.
Well, somebody else is there, right?
Sometimes.
Okay, I'm learning something new about medicine. They just disappear in the middle of the operation. Hend, you close.
Oh, sorry, not during the operation.
Oh, okay.
like in between cases, like during turnover.
I feel reassured.
That's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone is always there. Don't
Okay.
Those are all good times to ask questions. I think also advice that I got one time, and I want to say this like without any shame, but like it was a mistake that I had made, is like I remember one time a fellow told me like, you don't have to ask questions just to show that you are paying attention. Like I can tell you're paying attention. You don't have to prove it.
And you're like,
I was like,
but I really had a question.
Yeah. I'll be honest, a couple of those were like I was trying to show that I was paying attention.
Okay,
But
all right, that's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
So they can pick up on that.
Yeah.
So if you're genuinely curious about something, ask it at a good time.
You're just starting clinical, so like give some grace to yourself. It'll be like
Totally
a learning
new thing.
curve. Yeah, it's like super new. It's kind of awkward a little bit. Sometimes you don't know these people. You don't know like how many questions you should ask. Should I talk less? Should I talk more? Like everybody's talking about their weekend. Do I need to say something? Like it's all a very new situation. So definitely like do a little bit of, you're just going to be practicing the first few months and like let yourself live a little bit. Like it's fine if you make a little mistake or if you don't always feel comfortable. So ask some questions, don't ask some questions, whatever you're feeling that day.
What are some mistakes that you guys would like to prepare worried not to make? That you made? Hind already said hers.
I have more. But you guys go ahead.
If somebody invites you to go home, go home.
Oh.
Don't be like, well, no, I just really wanted to see this. Just go.
Yeah, I mean, you can reserve those moments to say, no, I'll stay for stuff that you really, really care about.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. I think being performative about certain things, I don't know. Nobody expects you to be performative about stuff like that.
Yeah, better to be genuine.
Mhm.
Just like be yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So Madeline didn't make any mistakes. Good. You.
What? I had to like just learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, I think.
Yeah, you did mention that. You had a bit of a learning curve as far as like, speaking.
Yeah, I was just very nervous when I started.
Yeah.
And I got comments on that.
Yeah.
Like, you need to not be nervous.
Perfect.
Just stop being nervous.
Got it.
But
Could you be a little less you?
yeah. But I mean, I feel like after a while, I got more comfortable, and then, I mean, those comments went away.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm sure
sorry.
they weren't like, you're too nervous. They probably...
They weren't egregious.
No, they were...
No.
When I see that, it's usually like, she was nervous in the beginning, but as she, acclimatized, she got cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm proud of you. That's a
Aw.
really wow.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, let yourself be nervous. That's okay, too. Because I also was stressed out about being nervous, and that made me more nervous, so.
And mistakes
It was a
are-
vicious cycle.
And as for mistakes, that's part of this.
Yeah.
That's part of learning. It's part of how, your brain realizes that there's something new here that you need to pay attention to. And it's my understanding, I'm not a neurologist, but I'm pretty sure that's how brains work. Right?
Sure.
I made a mistake.
None of us are neurologists either. That sounds great to me.
Just agree.
Yes. Agreed.
No, I mean, isn't it? It's a learning cue. Like your brain says, "Hey, you did that wrong." You get feedback that says, "Hey, you did that wrong," and your brain goes, "Okay, now I need to pay attention." I mean, it's just how this works. You'll be all right.
I think another thing that I kind of made the mistake of doing that I highly encourage you to do is like, you're going to meet so many residents and attendings. So many. And you don't have to make everyone like you. And you're going to feel pressure too.
Ooh, that would be hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want people to like me.
Exactly. It's like, it's also like a neurology thing, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
it's like a fight or flight response. It's
Right,
like I need to
right.
feel comfortable, and
We're social creatures. We want.
exactly. It's evolutionarily built into us. So what I'm not saying is it's okay to disrespect people because you're only going to see them for half a day or 2 days, or a week. But what I am saying is that if you're not immediately besties with everyone, that's okay. You're here to learn things to carry on into your career, and it is a work environment. So if anyone makes you feel that you are not enough because you're not besties with them, or you just don't vibe that well, as long as you're respectful and kind and a professional person, you're doing great.
Love that.
Very well put.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see. I guess one other question as far as preparation goes. I've heard the advice that if you know what's going to be covered in tomorrow's clerkship lecture, then it's a good idea to review that idea, at least on a base level, the night before. And then you can show up and just be prepared to listen to the story that is being told.
And build on it.
And build on it. And I've even heard, like, I know Justin Cipla, our paleontologist / neurologist. I don't. How do these things happen? But he's of the opinion that, you know, if you look over the material the night before and then come in and just listen to the story being told and don't take notes, that's what I want you to do. I don't know. I don't. I have to assume he knows what he's talking about. So.
He is a neurologist.
He is a neurologist. So yeah, does that resonate with you, or are you just like, yeah, that's not what I did?
I mean, I didn't really do that.
Yeah.
But the lectures were helpful to like get my mind thinking about stuff again, but I wasn't like preparing for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is the question about prepping for lectures or prepping for like patients?
It just says prepping. Oh, that's a good.
Oh,
yeah,
maybe.
I think it might
that's
be
a
for
good
patients.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Because
do you know your patients the night before?
Sometimes.
How it works?
Yeah, sometimes you do. I would say for surgery, sometimes they like you to know your patients, know the procedure, know like why are they getting this procedure. I used to be really good about doing that in surgery, and then I kind of like fell off, and then I was on another rotation, and I walked into the surgery like having read one line in the patient's note, and that was it. That was like all I knew. And then the doctor started asking me like every step of this procedure, and I was like, I don't know how to remove a kidney. And she was like, okay, what is the indication for this? And I was like, I don't know.
It's not working right.
It was, they need it out.
It's broken. I read on Reddit the other day, the thing that I wish was cool. Probably wasn't cool in the moment. But I read somebody the med student walks up to the table and says, "Scalpel."
In what context?
Did they live?
I love the chutzpah there to make that joke, because this is a good. I feel like it's a good joke. You know, if it was me, if I was the attending or the resident or whatever, I'd laugh my ass off. So good on you. Whatever.
Yeah, good for them. The most confident
Reddit, right?
Ever.
Maybe there was nobody in the room when they said that.
I mean, yeah, it is Reddit. It could be lying.
That is true. Sometimes the doctor is seeing like 40 people in clinic, and I'm not exaggerating. Like there would be 40 people on the schedule. Do not at all feel like you have to know what's up with all 40 patients. Sometimes there are patients that they have seen for like 6 years or 10 years, and they know them so well, and they know their family members and blah, blah. You have never met this person before. So don't feel incompetent if
you
you're
have to
like...
go through the entire chart.
Yeah. Don't feel like you have to do that. You know, study for yourself. Like,
So in that case, you might pick out some patients that are new.
I'm going to be honest, I did not prep for clinic the night before.
Me neither.
Sensing a trend.
Yeah. I think because it's so overwhelming to like you open up the schedule and there's like 40 people on there and you don't know who you're going to get. So it feels like you're not using your time efficiently. But I would prepare before I went into the room, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's more common.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the day, they might say, hey, see these couple patients. Or even like as you go through the day, they kind of assign you people. But then you're not seeing every patient, so you have some time to like look at their chart before you go talk to them.
Yeah.
And to my question about like picking out, or my thought about picking out a patient that you might see, that's actually, I would expect that would be something that your resident or attending might be happy to have you do.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If there was somebody that you picked out and was like, this is interesting, I might like to know more about this situation that this patient has.
Yeah, that's a good point. Listener, do what Dave said.
Yeah, do what I said.
Yeah.
But also,
no, it's a good idea though.
do what they say too.
Good idea. Be like, hey, I was really interested in seeing this patient because I want to learn about CKD or something. Right. And then there you go, 10 out of 10 eval.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, the comment will be, I was really impressed how she picked out things that she wanted to see.
Yeah.
Which also is a comment that I've seen. So again, applying some structure of your own to the situation that you're in, for whatever reason, is impressive. Maybe it's because it's helpful to them, so that they don't have to guess like, what does this person need from me?
Yeah.
So, okay. Good luck.
Woo.
Wherever you're going, even if it isn't Des Moines.
Maybe it is.
There is more.
Let us know how it goes. If I would love to hear more about their experiences, and whether or not we were right.
You got this.
And whether or not we offered you good advice. Love you. Okay, our next question is from Zion. This is our last question. Our last question is from Zion, who's worried about something foundational to this whole med school thing. Here we go.
Here's a question I keep wrestling with. Am I actually smart? I started at a community college where most of my courses were online, open note, and open book. I leaned on that a lot. When I transferred to a 4-year university and in-person classes, it hit me that I didn't know how to study effectively.
Mood.
My notes were messy and scattered. I didn't have strong study habits, and mental health struggles made discipline even harder. I still pulled good grades overall, mostly A's, but my grades in organic chemistry were atrocious. My exam grades in another class were okay at best, and just the overall lack of studying I was doing really stuck with me. People always say, you wouldn't be here if you weren't smart, but I still worry that I'm just lucky or good at cramming rather than actually intelligent. So I guess my question is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome when it feels like your academic foundation is shaky? And how can someone rebuild discipline when they've gone so long without it? Thanks again for all you guys do.
You're so welcome. Yeah, I am going to include a link in the show notes. It's a memo to myself. I'm going to include a link to the show notes, to a series of videos that I recently produced with Jaden Troxel and Cipla and Dr. Mark Pizzamenti about study techniques for medical students, that you could take a look at. But yeah, I think in general, the message that I got from doing this series was the way you've studied in undergrad may not work out as well for you in medical school. Thoughts?
Truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I had to kind of learn what else to do.
Yeah,
but you're able to adapt.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like cramming doesn't happen in med school.
Yeah.
But there are more efficient ways, as I understand it, to do this. And I think most people come in having, I don't know about open book tests. I don't know how common those are in college. I don't remember too many myself, but that was a long damn time ago. So yeah, you might have to explore some new and different ways to take in information. What are your thoughts?
My way of studying changed. Like in preclinicals, not that much between tests, but definitely from college to med school. And then on rotations, like every rotation, I had to like do something differently or adapt just to the rotation. And that doesn't say anything. Like I know that didn't say anything about my ability as a person. It was just like different environment, different test material. Sometimes you got to do things differently.
Yep. It's a feature of medical school that things are constantly changing. It's a very dynamic situation, learning environment.
How about you, Maryam?
I think that sometimes you can also go the opposite way where you're like, oh, this person's doing Anki. Anki is like the god of med school sometimes to some people. And
you don't know what Anki is. It's this software where it's like automated flashcards and also spaced repetition, which is one of the things that we talk about in that learning, in that study techniques video series.
But some people love Anki. I hate Anki. It puts me to sleep. But if somebody's doing it, then you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I should be doing it. Or somebody else is.
And you can try it, but you may find out it's like, this isn't for me. I got to do something else.
Yeah. And you can, definitely like try things, but don't also feel like you have to try everything that like people tell you has been working for them. If something's working for you, then like stick to it. But also don't be afraid, like Hend said, to try something new. If you're like in a different rotation or a different class.
There's no one way to do this, except as I think I've learned that you have to explore other ways to do it. You have to explore other ways than maybe you did in undergrad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's just part of growing. That's just part of the curriculum.
Can you tell me a moment where you felt super dumb in the didactic phase in particular?
It's hard to pick out a specific moment.
I tell you what, like in my life, there are times when I feel super competent, right? I'm going through my day and I'm like, yeah, I got this. But then in the back of my mind, there's a little voice that says, yeah, but that's all going to come tumbling down real soon. You're gonna get some sort of kick in the ass at some point. And it's true. It might not be tomorrow, might not be next week, but it's coming. I feel like it's just part of life, you know. Sometimes you feel good and sometimes you feel like, oh, no, I'm not as smart as I thought I was.
Yeah. Yeah. You get the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one particular moment, maybe in didactics, I remember our first lecture on shock, which is like what shock is defined as is like oxygen is not getting to your organs. That's like the definition.
Okay.
And there's like different ways that you can get to that and stuff like that. But I remember I was sitting in that lecture and he was like talking about the different types of shock and like this signifies that it's this type of shock and whatever. And I was just sitting there and I was like, what is shock? Like, I was like, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, what is this word? And it took me like a year until like clinicals, like a good decent chunk of the way through clinicals. I was like, okay, I finally understand like what the definition of this word is to even start processing like the different types and stuff like that.
And was that because the definition wasn't presented or just because the definition didn't connect to anything that you already knew?
I don't know.
Because I think that happens.
I feel like it must have been presented, right?
I mean, right. I mean, you would hope, but also like I know that sometimes it's hard to understand why you're learning something or how it connects with other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In medical school, I mean, shock is a little straightforward, but you know,
it wasn't to me.
I mean, it's a little straightforward of why you would learn it.
Okay.
But
yeah.
there are times when you're like, when am I ever going to use the classic example? When am I ever going to use the Krebs cycle? Right? Yeah. But yeah, in some cases, it's useful to know.
But yeah, that was an example of when I felt like really like I don't know what's going on here. Like, what am I doing here? What is happening? But yeah. But it sounds like Zion, like you set a high bar for yourself, even with like you said you like got A's in a lot of your classes. Great job. But then you expect yourself to somehow prove that it wasn't a flop and it was real.
Yeah. I think it would be unreasonable to feel completely confident in going into medical school. Like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
I think most people probably don't.
I'd be concerned if you did feel that way.
When did you start feeling more confident about your learning ability? Was it undergrad? Was it in medical school? Has it happened yet?
think it depends. It just depends sometimes. And I think that's normal. Like some days you feel more confident and other days are like, oh, there's still so much I don't know. But that's normal. And I think we forget that as med students sometimes. But then you talk to everyone else and they're all like, yeah, I feel the same thing. So it's
then sometimes you get people who are like, oh yeah, I totally aced that. Or they're like, oh, I failed. And then it turns out they got, honors. So I don't know. Talk with other people, but take it with a grain of salt, especially when they're like, yeah, I got this, no problem. Yeah, med school, easy.
Anyone that says that is lying.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to compare yourself, especially like the after exam discussions that people would have.
Yeah.
I would not go to those. They like people would sometimes like talk, and I think it helps some people to like hear what other people like how the exam went for them, but it did not help me at all. And I would I don't want to know what the questions were. I don't remember anything. Like smooth brain, that's it. So
I'm done with it.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with Madeline. Like it was definitely like some days you're like, yeah, I got this. Like I've come this far and I'm here for a reason. And then some days you're like, well, like, maybe tomorrow will be better. So and I was telling him this today that like a few like weeks ago, I think I was like, yeah, I belong here. This is good for me. And then yesterday I was in clinic with an attending and they were like, you should really read this textbook I sent you. It will really help you. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. So it doesn't.
Noticed that you're kind of dumb.
You should fix that.
Yeah. Here's a book.
And I don't think you get. Maybe you won't necessarily like know everything by the time you definitely will not know everything by the time you're done, but you'll just get a little bit better at realizing like, okay, I can improve, and like I did not need to know everything today, and tomorrow I'll like know a little bit more, and that's okay.
Cliche, but it's a marathon.
Yes.
Not a sprint.
I think the imposter syndrome never really goes away.
It really doesn't. I've known some deans who have admitted to me like that imposter syndrome is a thing for them. So
yeah, I don't think it ever really goes away. But what you can work on is like recognizing when it is there and making sure that it doesn't, or finding strategies for it to not tear at your self-worth or your capability as a human being. So it's more about mitigating the imposter syndrome and letting it present in certain situations without impacting your performance rather than making it disappear. Because I think that's an impossible goal.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, sorry guys, enough therapy for today. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Getting your prophylactic therapy already.
Exactly. You're starting early. Yeah.
Hend LLC.
All right. Well, that's our show. Rainey, Worried Traveler, Nyan, thanks for your lovely questions.
Thank you.
Best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Let us know how it goes. Hend, Maryam, Madeline, thanks for hanging out with me today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Steve.
And what kind of doofus would I be if I didn't thank you, Shortcoats, for making this part of your week? If you're new here and you like what you heard today, follow the show wherever fine podcasts are available. The show is made possible by a generous donation by Harvard College Medicine student government and ongoing support from the Writing and Humanities program. Our music is by Dr. Box and Atmosphere. I'm Dave Etler saying don't let the bastards get you down. Just don't. Talk to you in 1 week. Hi, Shortcoats. Look, life in medical education, life in America, life in the world is often difficult. And I often wish I could help. All I have is this podcast, but in my wildest dreams, you have the support you need to lead a life of your choosing. You deserve to be happy, healthy, and successful in whatever ways you define those words. So if you need support because you've experienced racism, discrimination, harassment, mental health crises, I want you to be able to get the help that you need. And so I'm going to put some links in the show notes to some resources that you can use. But the bottom line is that for what it's worth, I see you. I know you're out there. I wish I could do more. Maybe I can. in ways that I don't understand yet or know about. But I see you, and I'm glad you're here, and other people are too. This Short Code podcast is a proud member of the MedEd Media Network. Inspiration, information, and guidance on your journey to medical school and beyond at mededmedia.com.